Good afternoon. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Washington, and it is time for our week 4 topic, Books of Shadows. So I brought out with me today a couple of my books, but it has taken me a year to discover that keeping an actual book of shadows does not work for me. It just doesn't. So the first thing I started with was a journal. And I would write in it. I started writing it every night when I first got it. That lasted for like a week. And then I would write here and there. Sometimes I still do write in it. If I'm in bed and I have something that I think about that I want to write about, I'll grab it off the shelf and write in it. But I just don't do it regularly. I just don't. I don't know why. Laziness or lack of inspiration or whatever the case may be. I just don't do it. And then I started this book, which if you follow me on my personal channel, you would know that I started this as my Book of Shadows for the Wheel of the Year. And it's kind of like a scrapbook edition. But it didn't take me very long to quit doing that either. It looks cool. It was really fun to set up. I had a really good time doing it, but I had a lot more time on my plate at that particular moment. And, it was fun, but it turned into a project that just kind of overwhelmed me. So I'm the type of person that likes to take on a bunch of projects, take on more than I can chew, and then I have to trim the fat somewhere. And I kind of started dreading doing this because it was one more thing that I had to do. It wasn't fun anymore. It was like I started it, and then I felt like I had to finish it, and so I didn't finish it because I just didn't want to, which is really sad. But it just didn't work for me. And a lot of things, when you're first starting out, it's all going to be trial and error. So you have to really sometimes play around and try stuff before you know if it's going to work for you or not. I am the type of person that I am in front of a computer all day long, not by choice, but because of my work. I'm in front of the computer at least 8 hours a day, if not longer. And then if I'm on YouTube or Facebook or doing anything else, I'm either on the computer or playing on my phone or whatever, so I'm in front of a computer all the time. So what I started doing on the computer was just saving all my witchy stuff on there. If I decide that something's unnecessary, I can easily delete the file. If I think that I want to, start a new file on something, I do. It's easy to categorize. I can create folders, and I can copy and paste things and move them, and it just makes more sense for me. I do love doing this kind of stuff. I love crafty stuff like this, but it's not convenient for an ongoing regular thing. So I started with a divination journal that I keep on my computer, and it worked out so well that I just kind of branched out from there. And like I said, it took me a year to get there. It took me a year to figure that out. So not all my stuff is on the computer yet because I just kind of started doing it within the last 3 to 4 months, probably closer to 3 months. And so, it's working really well. I can just find something online, copy and paste the pieces I like, move the words around or add thoughts or whatever I want to do, put it in a file, and it's on my computer. And my computer's always backed up, so I'll never lose the files. So it just works for me. It really, really does. And there's a lot of contention out there with people who do not keep a traditional book. The thing is that a lot of people feel like there's more magic in the book if you handwrite it, and there's more magic in the book, when you put in your book protection spell and this and that and the other. And for them, that is probably true because that's how they feel and that's how they believe. But you can't tell me that that's going to make my book more or less magical because because I don't believe the same thing. And magic only works when you put your intent into it. If I have a protection spell on my computer file, that could easily be just as magical as one that I handwrite into a book. And it takes me a lot less time to type it out than it does to handwrite it. So it's not taking hours and hours out of my day to put a book together. It's taking far less time and stressing me out less, and that in effect I think makes for a more efficient practice and makes me happier in my practice. And there may come a day where there's things that I realize I use all the time, and so I want to have more of a book that's like in my hand, but that time's not right now. And the thing is, if I write a spell and later I decide, it hasn't quite been right and I want to tweak it just a little bit, it is so much easier for me to go on the computer, pull up the file, change the words, resave it, than it would be if it was in a fancy schmancy book. I mean, some people get leather-bound books that you would have to tear the page out or white out. That would ruin the entire aesthetic of your look. And frankly, I have OCD and that would bother the crap out of me. So using a computer, you can still decorate the pages. You can choose different page backgrounds. You can copy and paste pictures. You can input little notes. You can do all kinds of stuff. So you can still make it aesthetically pleasing, even though it's on the computer. And, in the end, it's just for you. It's just a reference book for you. And if you want to pass it down to your children, you can have it printed, professionally printed and bound, and gift it to them. I mean, there's so many things you can do with computer files. So while everybody has their own deal, if they do have a book of shadows, not everybody even keeps a book of shadows. That's a personal preference. So if you do have a book of shadows, you can do it whatever way you want. Leather-bound book, just a handwritten journal, scrapbooking project, whatever you want to do, computer file. It's up to you. Don't let anybody tell you what you can and cannot do or how you can do it, and don't let anybody tell you that something is less magical because the way you do it is different from theirs. I think that's really important when you're first starting out, to realize that everything is as magical as you want it to be because you're putting your intent into it. So I would really love to see any video responses with what you guys do for your books of shadows, and what kinds of things you keep in them. I'd love to hear about it. Mine mostly, I have a few spells that I like, but I have kind of backed off of spell work for a while, so I don't have a ton of spells in my book. Most of my stuff is just divination, divination journal. That's what I'm kind of working on right now. And just random thoughts. If I have a meditation or something that gives me some great clarification, I'll write that down. But a lot of mine isn't spell work yet. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys have and what you're doing. And I am going to show you a few clips of what I have close up so you can really see. This is my journal. It says, live your dream, show compassion, fall in love, dream big, create happiness, make a wish, be generous, take chances, sing in the rain. This is your life, make it beautiful. I just thought that was super cute for a journal. And then I wrote Book of Shadows, Tarot, Oracle Divination, Pendulum Divination spells, prayers, magical learnings, journaling. And I have written, you can see I scribble stuff a lot and mark things out and rewrite, and most of it is journaling about divination, but there are certain things, like I said, I've had meditations where I've had moments that I just felt I needed to write down right away, or dreams that I wanted to record, and so I have written probably, let's see, I've had this for, what did I say, a year, and I have gone, there we go. That is the last time I wrote in it. So, out of all the pages, I am probably a quarter of the way through the book, and I've had this for a year. I mean, in a year's worth of thoughts, spells, journaling, that should easily fill this book. But no, I just don't use it. And then this is the Book of Shadows for the Wheel of the Year, which I started when I started doing the Psycho-Spiritual Wheel of the Year. I was printing that all out, plus I was putting other stuff in here. I did this really cool book blessing, the Wiccan read. You know, had this nice cardstock that I was using. Put different thoughts on the wheel, the time of the wheel, and a spell or a potion mixture or something. And then all my psycho-spiritual stuff was in the back. And it went really well until I got bored with it and overwhelmed by it. Psycho-Spiritual Wheel of the Year by Joanna DeVoe is still really awesome, but making a book about the Wheel of the Year in general, just not into it. I'm keeping it because I might want to do it again. I might pick it up one of these days when I have a lot of free time, but now's just not the time. So, yeah. If I'm on my computer all the time, I'm going to have a file for my spirituality, and that's going to be basically my Book of Shadows. So you can see here, I've got TI stands for Tara Incognita. That's where all my things that I make to post on my Facebook page are. SOS is starting out solitary. That's where I keep all that. S2S is Sad to Sexy. That's all the modules that I purchased when I did Sad to Sexy with Joanna DeVoe. Paswati is the Psycho-Spiritual Wheel of the Year, and so I have files for Psycho-Spiritual Wheel of the Year, and I also have files that I've created on my own, you know, Wiccan Read, God, Goddess, all the different transitions. It's not all here because I do have another file on my computer at home, and a lot of it's in there too. And so I just keep a bunch of stuff. Oracle, this one I think is the most decorative because I actually went online and stole the pictures of my Oracle deck. So this is the Enchanted Oracle, and then what I do is I ask a question and I'll put in a picture of the card, and then I'll type out my answers from the book as well as my own interpretations. And so you can see, I think that's probably my favorite one, but it just seems to work out better for me to have everything on the internet, or not the internet, but on the computer. And it's convenient, it's at my fingertips all the time, and if I really need to print something out, I can. Otherwise, if I want to leave it on the computer, I can decorate it any way I want and change it any way I want. So that's pretty much it. I can't wait to see your comments and your video responses, and I will see you guys next week. Blessed be. This is my video crew right here, Annabelle and Ginger. They're very helpful while I take videos.